The peace you've been searching for your entire life might be slipping through your fingers right now, destroyed by habits so subtle you don't even realize they're there. After decades of watching people struggle with the same patterns, after countless conversations with those who found their way through life's storms, I've noticed something profound. The difference between those who live in constant turmoil and those who found genuine serenity isn't about luck or circumstances. It's about recognizing and eliminating certain destructive habits that we all fall into without realizing it. There's an ancient collection of personal reflections that has guided countless souls through their darkest moments. These meditations, written by someone who faced wars, betrayals, and personal tragedies, yet maintained remarkable inner calm, offer us a roadmap to lasting peace. The wisdom comes from someone who proved that tranquility is possible, even in the midst of chaos, not by changing the world around us, but by transforming how we respond to it. Today, I want to share with you 5 habits that are quietly destroying your peace right now. More importantly, I'll show you the time-tested antidotes that have helped millions find the serenity they thought was lost forever. Let's start with the first habit that's probably affecting you right this moment: the obsession with things you cannot control. You wake up worrying about the economy. You lose sleep over what your neighbors think. You spend hours anxious about your health declining, your reputation being damaged, or random events that might never happen. Sound familiar? This constant mental wandering from one external worry to another is exhausting your spirit. Here's what those who've mastered peace understand. There's a fundamental distinction between what's truly in your power and what isn't. Your opinions, your desires, your actions, these belong to you. But health, wealth, reputation, and most external circumstances, they're visitors in your life, not permanent residents under your control. The trouble isn't in the events themselves. Think about it. The same situation that devastates one person barely affects another. Why? Because the disturbance comes from your judgment of things, not the things themselves. Remove your opinion that something is terrible, and suddenly you're free. The event remains the same, but your peace returns. I've seen people transform their entire lives by embracing this simple truth. Whatever happens in the world happens according to a pattern larger than our individual desires. When you fight against this natural order, you suffer. When you accept it as part of the grand design you're participating in, you find health and welfare. This doesn't mean becoming passive. It means directing your energy toward what you can actually influence while accepting what you cannot. Every moment you spend obsessing over uncontrollable externals is a moment stolen from your peace. Now, the second habit might be even more insidious: letting other people's behavior disturb your tranquility. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and your whole morning is ruined. A coworker makes a snide remark, and you replay it for days. Family members disappoint you, and you carry that resentment like a heavy stone. You're essentially handing over the keys to your peace to everyone around you. Those who've found lasting serenity understand something crucial. Another person's mistakes or malice are primarily their burden, not yours. The best response to someone's poor behavior isn't to become like them. It's to remain steadfast in your own character. Think about this. When someone acts badly toward you, they're usually operating from their own pain, ignorance, or misunderstanding. They believe they're doing what's right based on their limited perspective. Nobody deliberately chooses to be wrong. They're forced by their own opinions and experiences to act as they do. I've watched people waste decades being angry at others' faults. Meanwhile, those who cultivate compassion and understanding find their peace undisturbed. We're all connected, like different parts of the same body. When your hand accidentally hits your foot, does the foot seek revenge? Of course not. They're part of the same whole. The wise approach is to focus entirely on your own conduct. Be good not for anyone else's sake, but because it's your nature to be good. Love even those who wrong you, seeing them as fellow travelers who've lost their way. This isn't weakness, it's the ultimate strength. Moving to the third destructive habit, the endless pursuit of fleeting pleasures and external validation. How much of your life have you spent chasing the next achievement, the next compliment, the next purchase that would finally make you happy? The promotion, the recognition, the material comfort, always just one more thing away from contentment. Yet each achievement brings only temporary satisfaction before the hunger returns. Here's what life's observers have discovered. If happiness truly came from pleasure and external rewards, then those who indulge most would be happiest. But look around. Are the wealthiest the most content? Are those drowning in pleasures at peace? Often, it's quite the opposite. These external pursuits are inherently unstable. Today's success becomes tomorrow's old news. This year's achievement becomes next year's baseline. The praise you receive today is forgotten tomorrow. You become enslaved to an endless cycle of seeking and disappointment. True happiness, lasting peace, comes from something far more stable, living according to your principles, doing what's right, maintaining your integrity. This is entirely within your control and doesn't depend on anyone else's opinion or any external circumstance. Consider how quickly everything dissolves. The things you're desperately pursuing, the recognition you're craving, in a short time, they'll all be dust and forgotten memories. But the peace that comes from living virtuously, from being true to your nature, from contributing to the common good, this remains with you always. The wise person finds contentment in their own actions, not in others' reactions. They preserve their spirit pure and unpolluted by the constant chase for external validation. They understand that everything they need for happiness already exists within them. This brings us to the fourth habit that destroys peace, procrastinating on becoming who you're meant to be. How long have you been telling yourself you'll start that important change tomorrow? How many years have you delayed acting on your highest principles, postponing the work of self-mastery? Each day you put off this essential work, your spirit grows more restless, more discontent. Life has a way of slipping by while we're making other plans. You tell yourself there's plenty of time to become the person you know you should be. But those who've lived long enough know the truth. Time accelerates as we age. The days we thought stretched endlessly before us suddenly seem numbered. The intellect, the part of you that seeks meaning and purpose, withers when unused. Like a muscle that atrophies without exercise, your capacity for wisdom and peace diminishes each day you neglect it. Not making right use of yourself, not living according to your true nature, inevitably leads to unhappiness. Here's what I've learned from those who found their way. Act immediately and decisively on what matters. Treat every action as if it might be your last, not from fear, but from the clarity this brings. When you realize how precious and limited time is, you stop wasting it on trivial pursuits. Living in conformity with your rational nature means contributing to the common good, using your unique gifts to serve something larger than yourself. This isn't about grand gestures, it's about daily choices aligned with your values. The practice of constant self-examination and reflection isn't self-indulgence. It's essential maintenance of your spirit. Ask yourself regularly, what is my rational guiding part focused on right now? Is it serving my highest good and the good of others? These moments of honest reflection refresh and renew you, keeping you aligned with your true path. Finally, the fifth habit that's stealing your peace, yielding to excessive grief, anger, and chronic discontent. When life delivers its inevitable blows, how do you respond? Do you let sorrow overwhelm you for months? Does anger consume your thoughts for days? Does a general dissatisfaction with life color everything you experience? These strong negative emotions, when given free rein, create an internal storm that destroys all possibility of peace. You become like a ship without an anchor, Tossed about by every wave of feeling, the rational, commanding part of your soul loses its power, leaving you in constant trouble and confusion. I knew someone who lost their spouse after 40 years of marriage. For the first year, grief consumed every waking moment. They couldn't see past the pain. But then they met another widow who'd been through the same loss 5 years earlier. This person shared something profound. The grief never fully goes away, but you learn to carry it differently. Like a heavy backpack that becomes part of you, you grow stronger and it grows lighter. Those who've mastered the art of living understand that pain, whether physical or emotional, is neither intolerable nor eternal. The mind has the remarkable ability to separate itself from suffering, to observe it without being consumed by it. The pain exists, but you choose whether to add the opinion that it's good or bad, bearable or unbearable. Think about physical pain for a moment. You've probably noticed how the same level of discomfort can feel unbearable when you're focused on it, yet barely noticeable when you're engaged in something you love. The pain signal remains the same, but your relationship to it changes everything. This same principle applies to emotional pain. Think of your mind as a promontory jutting into the sea. Waves crash against it constantly. That's life bringing its challenges. But the promontory remains unmoved. Around its solid presence, even the wildest waves eventually calm. You can develop this same unconquerable quality of mind. This doesn't mean suppressing all emotion or becoming cold. It means maintaining your center while feelings pass through you like weather through the sky. The sky remains unchanged whether hosting sunshine or storms. Similarly, your essential self can remain at peace regardless of what emotions move through you. Let me share what I've observed about people who handle emotions well. They feel everything fully, the joy, the sorrow, the frustration. But they've learned to be the observer of their emotions rather than being consumed by them. They say things like, "I notice I'm feeling angry right now," rather than, "I am angry." This small shift in language represents a massive shift in experience. When anything happens to you, instead of asking, "Why me?" try thinking, "This is well, you are." Not because the event itself is pleasant, but because it's part of your journey, part of what was always going to intersect with your path. Fighting against what is only adds suffering to pain. The goal isn't to feel nothing, it's to be free from being controlled by what you feel. It's developing a mind that cannot be forced, that maintains its sovereignty regardless of external pressures or internal turbulence. Consider how much energy you waste in resistance. Something happens, a diagnosis, a loss, a disappointment, and you spend months or years fighting against the reality of it. This shouldn't have happened. It's not fair. I can't accept this. But that resistance doesn't change what is. It only exhausts you, steals your peace, and prevents you from moving forward with wisdom and grace. As we reflect on these 5 habits, obsessing over what you can't control, being disturbed by others' behavior, chasing external validation, procrastinating self-improvement, and yielding to excessive emotion, you might recognize all of them in your own life. That's perfectly normal. We all struggle with these patterns. But recognition is the first step toward freedom. True peace isn't some mystical state reserved for monks on mountaintops. It's an inward power of the soul that you can develop through daily practice. It comes from mastering your mind and aligning with the natural order of things and the common good of humanity. The personal meditations that have guided this wisdom show us something remarkable. Even someone facing the pressures of leading an empire during wartime, dealing with betrayal and loss, could cultivate deep serenity through the daily practice of these principles. You don't need perfect circumstances to find peace. You don't need everyone around you to change. You don't need to achieve some external goal first. Everything you need for lasting tranquility already exists within you. Start today. Start with just one habit. Choose the one that resonates most strongly and begin the work of elimination. Watch how even small changes in these areas create ripples of peace throughout your entire life. Remember, those who've walked this path before us discovered these truths through lived experience, through trial and error, through the wisdom that comes from observing life carefully. They've left us this roadmap, not as abstract philosophy, but as practical guidance for daily living. The journey toward lasting peace isn't about adding more to your life. It's about removing what disturbs your natural tranquility. It's about returning to the simplicity and clarity that's your birthright. I want to share something that might surprise you. The people I've met who radiate the most peace aren't those who've had easy lives. They're often those who face tremendous challenges, illness, loss, betrayal, failure. But through these trials, they discovered something precious, the unshakable core of peace that exists within every human being. They learned that peace isn't the absence of problems, but the presence of perspective. One woman I knew went through a terrible divorce in her 60s. She lost her home, many of her friends chose sides, and she had to rebuild her entire life. For months, she was consumed by bitterness and regret. Then, one morning, she woke up and realized she was giving her ex-husband power over her happiness every single day through her resentment. She made a decision. I'm taking back my peace. It wasn't instant, but day by day, choice by choice, she reclaimed her tranquility. Now, 5 years later, she tells me those difficult months taught her more about inner strength than the previous 60 years combined. Each moment offers a new opportunity to practice these principles. Each interaction, each challenge, each quiet moment of reflection is a chance to strengthen your inner peace. The habits that destroy tranquility have been built over years, maybe decades. Be patient with yourself as you work to replace them, but also be persistent. The stakes are too high to continue living in unnecessary turmoil. The remaining years of your life, however many they may be, deserve to be lived in the peace you've always sought. Think about this. You've probably spent decades taking care of everyone else, your children, your spouse, your aging parents, your career. Now it's time to take care of your inner life with the same dedication. This isn't selfish, it's necessary. When you find your peace, everyone around you benefits from your calm presence. The wisdom of ages tells us that this peace is not only possible, but inevitable for those who commit to the work. Not through forcing or straining, but through the gentle, consistent practice of releasing what doesn't serve you and embracing what does. Your journey toward lasting peace begins with this moment, with this breath, with this choice to live differently. The path has been walked by millions before you. Their footsteps have worn it smooth. All you need to do is take the first step. And here's the beautiful truth. You don't have to be perfect at this. You don't have to master all 5 areas at once. Even small improvements in just one area will ripple through your entire life. Start where you feel most called. Trust your instincts about what needs attention first. If this message resonates with you, if you're ready to eliminate these peace-destroying habits from your life, I'd love to hear about your journey. Share your thoughts below about which habit you're committing to work on first. And if you found value in these insights, consider subscribing to join our community of seekers, finding wisdom in life's later chapters. Together we can support each other in this essential work of cultivating lasting peace.